Hi, if you're watching this and you're either one of my students in Media Studies Stage 2 or Stage 1, or you just really like Media Studies. This is the first in a series of the key media concepts. This is for media organisations. We're going to be looking at individuals and groups that create media texts. They are the people that create media texts. I've broken them down into two main groups, individuals and groups. Individuals, in this case, we have directors and filmmakers. Okay, I mainly teach with film, so that's what I'm using. But they are the individuals. We have there a collection of directors. Directors are the people that decide what they're going to make and how they want to make it. And then we have the groups. These are film production companies that have a large say in how the money is spent. Now, just because a individual is working with a production company does not necessarily mean that they have to do what that production company says, but usually they do. The other thing we need to make note of is that if we're talking about individuals, it's not just filmmakers, it's podcasters, it's YouTubers, it is bloggers, it is people on Instagram, Instagram influencers, if you will. And when we're looking at groups, that's not just filmmaking. We can also look at radio stations, TV stations, groups of people that work together to do independent films or independent podcasts or independent radio. Okay, they are what we're looking at here. Why do people make texts? When we are studying media organizations, we want to know why people have created those texts. So they're either doing it to sell a product, think advertising or service, product or service. Think advertising on TV, magazines, radio, podcasts, at the start of a film at the cinema, advertising on YouTube. All those things are media texts that have been created for a reason, and that is to sell a product or a service. To persuade people to adopt a particular point of view. This is best seen in things like news stories, opinion pieces, documentaries, any type of media text where someone is trying to persuade someone or convince someone of their point of view. And then lastly, to satisfy a need to be creative. This varies. Think musicians, think artists, think filmmakers, think podcasters. A lot of people create their content, their media text, because they want to satisfy this need to be creative. Authors is another one. Sometimes a byproduct of that is making money, and that's excellent for them, and I think we should all support creative people out there, but not always. Some people just make money make text because they want to be creative. Now, a key thing when we're looking at media organizations is how that organization or individual distributes their content. All right, I've broken this into two categories, traditional and contemporary. In traditional, we're looking at newspapers, magazines, television, radio, and theatre. All of these are traditional methods of transferring media texts. Okay, so this might be an advertisement in a newspaper, or an opinion piece in a newspaper, or a magazine article about a product, or it might be a magazine article about someone's experience. Television is an excellent example of a traditional distribution method. This is how some films, they go straight to TV, the really good ones. TV shows, we still call them TV shows even though they are on streaming services now. We also have radio. Radio is an excellent mode of transporting media. And then theatre. And we could do live theatre, and we could also talk about cinemas there. Okay. Now, more often now we're dealing with the contemporary styles, which is social media. An amazing platform for content creators to share what they're creating, the media that they're creating. YouTube, another way that a number of people, well, millions and millions of people are sharing the stuff they create. And they all have their own way of doing it, but there are certain things that almost all YouTubers do. Streaming services, when I talk about streaming services, we're thinking about Spotify, Netflix, Hulu, Stan, Foxtel. We can also look at Twitch when we're looking at gaming. That's also a very popular streaming service. We have the interwebs, the internet. All of that would not be available to us without the internet. It is the #1 way to distribute media these days. Okay, and then lastly, podcasts. Podcasts born out of radio are hugely popular at the moment. All right, let's look at an example. First question you need to ask is why, oh why, does Mr. Watkinson always find the strangest things? Alright, so just looking at this, we can see this is someone possibly working on their own or with a very, very small group. What are they trying to do? Make music? Possibly just trying to satisfy that need to be creative. Alright. Very 80s feel there. Look at those glasses. Playing the keyboard. Alright, let's pause it there. I won't subject you to all of that, but if you do want to find it, it's on YouTube. It's called Space Knife. Now, who the hell is this guy? Alright, who is this creator? This is an individual. This is someone that is working on their own. Alright. I found them on YouTube. So their distribution method is through YouTube. And I did a bit of digging. I wanted to find out who this person was. Turns out that this person works in TV and film as a dresser, okay, costume dresser, or an on-stage dresser. This is someone that works with the costumes that actors are wearing. And this guy has worked on both seasons of Stranger Things, Venom, Dumplin', and there's another one that we would know, which I can't remember off the top of my head. The new Godzilla film. So this guy works in the industry and has decided that he wants to be creative, and this is his way of expressing that. Looking at Stranger Things, if he's the costume guy for Stranger Things, he's probably on the right track here with what he's doing in his own videos. So check it out, Space Knife, if you're into weird 80s stuff. All right. Oh, another example, slightly more serious. Production company.
What you looking at me like that for? What, man? Come on, you just drove down here? Yeah.
Very genuine. Okay, we've got three things we can start looking
Where's you,
at.
Sharon? For a long time, try not to remember. Try to forget all those times.
At some point, you gotta decide for yourself who you're gonna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you.
You gonna tell him why the other boys kick his ass all the time? What's wrong?
I'm good.
No, I done seen good, and you ain't it.
Remember the last time I saw you?
You're my only. I'm your only. No. You gonna listen.
To who, Ma? Huh? To you? Who is you, man? I ain't seen you in like a decade. It's not what I expected. What did you expect?
Alrighty. So your task, what I want you to do is research film Moonlight. I want you to find out about A24 Productions, the production company that helped make that. What types of films have they made before? Do they have a common theme? Do they just do independent films? How does it work? Find out about the director and the writer. What else have they made? What else have they written? What other sort of stuff do they do? Okay. And then lastly, how is this film distributed? Okay. Oh, one thing I forgot to write there. Find out how it was distributed. What does looking up all of this stuff about the organizations that created the text tell you about the text? That's your task. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you very much.